So today, we're going to discuss elimination again, except for this is elimination using multiplication. So basically, we're going to do the exact same thing, except for we're going to do one step before we eliminate. And so here is a thing taken from your book. Step 1 says multiply at least one equation by a constant to get two equations that contain opposite terms. Key words here, at least one equation. So at least one means possibly two. Okay, so add the equations eliminating one variable, then solve the equation. So that's what we've already done. And then substitute the value from step 2 into one of the equations and solve for the other variable. Write the solution as an ordered pair. So basically, we've already done step 2 and 3. We're adding step 1. And this might not make a whole lot of sense right now until we look at an example. And so if we look at the first example here, it says use elimination to solve the system of equations. And if you look here, you can't eliminate a variable right away. So we have to somehow manipulate the equations so we can. So first of all, I'm going to look at the numbers. I've got 5 and 2 for the x. Okay? I've got 3 and 6 for the y. I have to somehow make those opposite numbers. So I need to have like a 5 and a negative 5, a 6 and a negative 6, a 10 and a negative 10. And so if I look at that, I know that both, if I look at the y's, I know that both 3 and 6 go into 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the bottom equation a negative 6. So how can I make 3 a negative 6? Times it by negative 2. Good. And I'm going to use a negative. The reason why I'm going to use a negative is because, remember, we always want opposite signs. So my top equation I'm going to leave alone. 5x plus 6y equals negative 8. The bottom equation, I'm going to distribute that negative 2 to all terms. So that becomes negative 4x plus negative 6y, and that's going to equal positive 10. Yep, and then you add. This is exactly the same as what we did Wednesday and Thursday. Exactly the same now. So if I add these together, I get 1x. What happens to your y's? They cancel, they're gone, and that's going to equal what? 2. So now the nice thing is I already know x equals 2. I'm going to substitute it in to either one of those 4 equations. Doesn't matter which one. I always advise to pick one of the first ones though, because those are generally smaller numbers. And so I'm just going to go ahead and pick the top equation. So the top equation says 5 times x plus 6y equals negative 8. So 5 times 2 is 10 plus 6y equals negative 8. What do you do now? Minus 10. I need to subtract 10. So I get 6y to equal what, folks?
Negative 3.
Negative 18. What do you do now? Divide by 6. So what do you get y to equal? Negative 3. Now remember how we always have to answer. We always have to answer this as an ordered pair because that's where those lines intersect. So your answer is 2, negative 3. Questions? So it's pretty much the exact same thing you're doing with a little twist at the start. Let's go ahead and look at this one. 6x minus 2y equals 10. 3x minus 7y equals negative 19. Okay. 6x minus 2y equals 10. 3x minus 7y equals negative 19. What do you want to eliminate here? The x's. Okay, so I know 3 and 6 both go into what number? 6. So I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by negative 2. Because remember, we always want opposite signs. Top equation will stay 6x minus 2y equals 10. Bottom equation is what? Plus 14y, yep, equals 38.
Yeah.
Biggest mistake people make. They forget to multiply the 19 here by the 2. So make sure you distribute it to all 3. Let's go ahead and add together. What happens to your 6's? Or your x's? They're gone. Okay, what is your y's? 12y equals what? 48. So then now, what do you need to do to solve for y? Divide by 12. Very good. And so I get y to equal 4. Now it doesn't matter which equation you sub it back into. I'm just going to go ahead and sub it into the top equation again. No reason, just because. And so then I have 2 times 4 equals 10. So 6x minus what? 8 equals 10. What do you do now? Add 8. So you end up getting 6x to equal 18. Now I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 6. And so I get x to equal 3. So remember, my solution needs to be an ordered pair. So my solution is 3, 4.
I actually have to talk today because the 8th graders aren't here to say anything.
Okay, so
Where are they?
any questions? So let's go ahead and look at this one right here.
Wait, which one? It's all X.
You can, yeah, you're going to notice on your homework that you're not only going to have X and Y, you're going to have, in this case, R and Q. Okay? And you could have M and N. You could have J and K. Doesn't matter. And so in this case, what we're going to do, okay, how we usually imply it is it comes in alphabetical order. So which one comes first, Q or R? Q. So Q is generally referred to as the X in this case, and R is referred to as the Y. And if that confuses you with the R's and the Q's, you can throw in X and Y. So really, this would be X plus 9Y equals 13, and that would be 2X plus 3Y equals negative 4. Notice how I flipped them around? What would you do to solve that? What was the very first step you would do? Yeah?
Multiply the top one by -2.
Multiply the top one by -2. Very good, because by multiplying the x by -2, that is the opposite then of the 2x. So really you would get negative 2x plus negative 18y equals negative 26. And then 2x plus 3y equals negative 4. So there you go. Okay, we're not going to continue with this because I think you've done enough of those. Okay, we're just kind of getting the gist of what we're going to do. Let's look at this one. So this one here, I've got 4x plus 2y equals 8, 3x plus 3y equals 9. Now this one is different. How is it different?
They don't match up.
They don't match up, so what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to multiply both equations. So the easiest way, you pick which one you're going to eliminate, x or y, it doesn't matter. You want to eliminate y's then. So now I've got the numbers 2 and 3. So I need to think, what is the smallest number that both 2 and 3 go into? 6. So how can I get 6 if I already have 2? What do I multiply by? 3. Okay, how do you get 6 down here? 2, but we're going to multiply by a -2 because remember we like those signs to be opposite. So my top equation becomes 12x plus 6y equals 24. What does your bottom equation become? Yep. There you go. Okay, and then you would just go ahead and be able to eliminate. So you're going to have to go ahead and multiply both the top and bottom equation. Now if I go ahead and add those together, I end up getting 6x to equal what?
6.
What is 6? Yep. Go ahead and divide by 6, and you get x to equal 1. Now once again, it doesn't matter which one you sub it into. I could take it in the first equation, so I have 4 times 1 plus 2y equals 8. So 4 plus 2y equals 8. Yep. So if you subtract 4, you end up getting 2y to equal 4, and then you get y to equal 2. So your solution is 1, 2. Okay, we've got one more we're just going to look at. We're just going to set up, and then we'll be done, and you'll have the rest of the time to work on this one. Let's look at this one right here. 5x minus 3y equals 6, and 2x plus 5y equals negative 10. Now what we're looking at here is we're looking at which one we're going to eliminate, the x's or the y's.
X.
Okay? I would probably choose to eliminate the y. Does anybody know?
Because it's bigger.
Because the signs are already opposite. Okay, you could eliminate the x. If you wanted to eliminate the x, what would you multiply the top by?
2.
2. What would you multiply the bottom by?
Negative.
-5. So that's an option. You could do that. All right, and you would get the same answer as if I wanted to eliminate the y. How would I eliminate the y? What would I multiply the top by? 5. What would I multiply the bottom by?
Negative.
3. Now see, that one I don't have to worry about the negative sign because the signs were already opposite to start with. And it doesn't matter because you will still get the same answers. Any questions over that? Okay, what I want you to do now, the rest of the time, I want you to go ahead and work on your assignment. If you work now, you should be able to get most of it done, if not all. I need you to do 7 through 18 on page 370. Now you have 2 assignments that I need you to get out as well. Okay. So for Monday, page 370, 7 through 18.